You will remain a stranger to genuine intimacy until you finally confront the hidden truths of your own psyche. It is a common realization that the struggle to find affection often stems from an internal war you aren't even aware you're fighting. This isn't about your physical appearance, your level of professional achievement, or how much wealth you've accumulated. Deep within your subconscious, there is a persistent rejection of a specific version of yourself. This is the fragment you view as fragile, flawed, or fundamentally broken, the element Carl Jung famously identified as the shadow. You might claim to possess self-regard, but if that appreciation is only present when you are performing well, maintaining emotional composure, or receiving external validation, then you are not experiencing love, you are experiencing a transaction. Real connection with another human being cannot be built upon a foundation of internal fragmentation. No person can truly see you until you find the bravery to look at the parts of your soul you have spent a lifetime burying. Once you step through that fire, a new path emerges. It leads not just toward romantic fulfillment, but toward a profound psychological restoration and the sovereign freedom you've been seeking. If you find yourself exhausted by the same heartbreaking cycles in your dating life, pay close attention, because the concepts we are exploring today will fundamentally shift how you give and receive devotion. Before we dive deeper, give yourself 10 seconds to reflect on this. Is the affection you crave born from a place of scarcity or a place of completion? 1. The fundamental barrier. You are essentially unlovable to others if you remain a mystery to yourself. Meaningful connection will always slip through your fingers if you lack a grasp of your own identity. I am not talking about the persona you curate for digital platforms, the credentials listed on your professional profile, or the polite mask you wear during social gatherings. I am referring to your authentic essence, including the impulses you try to stifle, the memories you avoid, and the traits you are terrified to confess. Throughout our development, we are conditioned to manufacture a socially sanitized version of ourselves. We learn to be resilient, optimistic, agreeable, and high-achieving. We convinced ourselves that if we could just polish the exterior enough, someone would finally choose us. But there is a fatal flaw in this logic. Genuine intimacy cannot breathe between two hollow masks. Jung defined the identity you present to society as the persona, while the discarded emotions, ancient scars, and perceived defects form the shadow. Here is the vital truth. You cannot master what remains in the dark. The more you push a part of your nature into the basement, the more power it gains to sabotage your life from the shadows. You believe you are consciously selecting your partners, but in reality, your repressed wounds are making the introductions. You find yourself magnetically pulled toward individuals who make you feel insignificant, inadequate, or trapped. This isn't because you have a desire for misery, but because your unconscious mind is desperately trying to resolve a trauma that has never been acknowledged. The romantic disasters you view as bad luck are actually precise echoes of your internal discord. Others are incapable of loving the whole version of you when you are still busy loathing half of yourself. They can only interact with the curated fragments you permit them to witness. If the rest of your being, the envious, terrified, or wounded parts, is kept in exile, then love can never take root in the soil of your soul. You will live in a constant state of perceived insufficiency. You will perpetually question the sincerity of your partner. You will wait for the inevitable betrayal, because at your core, you don't believe you are worthy of care unless you are flawless. Thus, you continue to manifest relationships that mirror your own internal shatter. This isn't a reflection of your worth, but a sign that true devotion only arrives when you confront your reflection, both the radiance and the rot, and decide to accept the entire image. Wholeness is the only bridge that can support the weight of true love. 2. The mirror effect and the mechanics of projection. We often fall into the trap of believing that the people who cause us pain are the primary problem. We tell ourselves that if they would just become more empathetic, more transparent, or more supportive, our romantic lives would finally stabilize. But the harsh reality is that they aren't the source of the issue. They are merely a mirror reflecting your internal state back to you. Jung described this psychological phenomenon as projection. When you refuse to acknowledge a specific trait within your own character, you unconsciously cast it onto the people around you. You aren't actually wounded by their actions, you're wounded by the parts of yourself that their behavior illuminates. These are the aspects you haven't yet named, reconciled, or integrated. For instance, if you find yourself deeply irritated by someone's perceived arrogance, stop and analyze the friction. Perhaps you truly dislike conceit, but on a subconscious level, you might be suppressing your own need to be assertive, visible, and proud of your accomplishments. You've labeled those healthy drives as arrogance to stay safe. Consequently, you stifle that energy, and when you see someone else expressing it freely, it triggers a visceral reaction because they are doing what a silenced part of you is screaming to do. Similarly, if you feel a strange contempt for someone you perceive as weak or overly emotional, you might actually be rejecting your own internal vulnerability. Perhaps you were once shamed for being too sensitive, so you built a fortress of logic and stoicism. Now you project that self-rejection onto others. The individuals you encounter are not random occurrences. Every intense emotional reaction you have toward another person is a diagnostic signal. They haven't arrived to punish you. They have arrived to show you where your healing is incomplete. The transformative question is no longer, why are they doing this, but what does my reaction to them reveal about me? This isn't about self-blame. It is about reclaiming your agency. When you start viewing every interaction as a mirror, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming a student of your own soul. Consider someone who recently provoked a strong emotion in you. If you strip away the judgment for a moment, what hidden part of your own psyche are they standing for? 3. The origin of toxic cycles, internal discord. You do not invite love through the scripts you recite, the intellectual theories you study, or the values you discuss over coffee. You attract connections through your actual internal frequency, the emotional field that vibrates from your core, regardless of your awareness. If there is still a civil war happening inside you, where certain parts are suppressed or denied, your relationships will inevitably become the battlefield for that conflict. Jung once noted that until you bring the unconscious into the light, it will dictate your path, and you will mistake it for destiny. In the realm of romance, this is a terrifying reality. Whatever you refuse to see in yourself will manifest through the actions of others, not as a penalty, but as a plea for your attention. You aren't being hurt by external forces, you're being poked in your own unhealed wounds. Love itself is not the source of the sting. Love is clarity. The pain comes from the darkness within that has never been exposed to the air, the anxieties, the old scars, and the limiting narratives that a healthy connection inadvertently brushes against. For example, if you were raised to believe your only value lies in your productivity or your perfection, you will develop a persona of extreme competence and emotional invulnerability. You become the fixer, the person everyone leans on, the one who never breaks. Yet deep inside, there is a neglected child who just wants to be loved for existing, not for performing. You despise that child. You call it needy or pathetic. Then you find yourself inextricably drawn to someone who is cold, dismissive, or emotionally unavailable. You wonder why you keep picking people who neglect you. The truth is, they are the perfect external representation of how you treat your inner self. When they ignore your needs, it hurts because it validates the abandonment you are already inflicting on your inner self. You aren't actually angry at them. You're angry at yourself for leaving that fragile part of you unprotected. Conversely, perhaps you are attracted to people who are possessive or demanding. On the surface, you claim to value freedom, but deep down, you might feel invisible or unimportant. When someone tries to control you, it provides a twisted sense of being seen and prioritized. This is the brutal but consistent logic of the human psyche. A wound will do anything to be heard, even if it means breaking your heart. When this remains unexamined, love becomes nothing more than a repetitive loop of trauma. You fall in love, get triggered, feel betrayed, and blame the world. You might swap partners, but the internal weather remains identical.
You can try to be stronger, but you will still feel an aching loneliness even when lying next to someone else, because love cannot fill a vessel that is leaking from internal cracks. The problem isn't the wrong person. The problem is that you are an energetic match for anyone who can poke your shadow. This isn't happening because you are unintelligent. It's happening because your mind is trying to heal by forcing you to look at what you've spent years avoiding. If you loathe the entitled, look at your own relationship with deserving. If you can't stand the dramatic, look at your repressed emotions. Love is not a sanctuary where you hide from yourself. It is the laboratory where your deepest self is synthesized. If you aren't prepared to look in the mirror, you will keep breaking the mirrors. But the moment you ask, "What is this trigger trying to teach me?" the cycle begins to dissolve. You realize every wound is an invitation to come home. You no longer need a perfect partner to feel secure. You just need a whole self. 4. The mechanism of change, radical honesty. Once you accept that your relationships aren't random and that your pain is a pointer, how do you actually transform? How do you break the loop? The answer isn't found in trying to manipulate your partner's behavior or pretending to be fine. It begins with the simple, terrifying act of looking at yourself without a filter. You cannot evolve while you are still judging your own reactions. Every time you feel a surge of envy, rage, or insecurity, and you immediately label it as bad, you lock the door to the shadow. And as long as that door is locked, the shadow runs the house. Jung taught that we don't theater light into existence, we make the darkness conscious. Transformation is not about fixing yourself, it's about seeing yourself clearly. When a powerful emotion hits, don't ask how to kill it, ask what it's carrying. Think of every trigger as a GPS coordinate. It only fires when something touches a nerve that was damaged long ago. If you feel a spike of fury when a partner doesn't text back, the anger isn't the problem. It's a bridge leading back to a time when you felt forgotten or unimportant. If you judge the anger, you burn the bridge. But if you follow it, you find the part of you that still feels like an abandoned child. Jealousy is the same. It's not a character flaw. It's a signal for an unexpressed desire or a lack of self-permission. To master this, you must move from reaction to observation. A powerful tool here is shadow journaling. This isn't just venting, it's forensic analysis. Describe the trigger in detail. What was said? What did you feel in your body? Where have you felt this before? Does it remind you of your relationship with a parent or a childhood peer? As you connect these dots, the power of the trigger wanes. You realize the current situation is just a ghost of an old one. Another practice is trigger tracking. Pay attention to the moments you overreact. A small critique that feels like a total rejection, or a confident peer who makes you feel small. Don't stop at the surface. Dig deeper into why that specific thing hurts. Slowly, you'll start to see that every reaction is a portal to a denied part of your soul. If you have the courage to step through, you begin to reclaim the fragments. A warning, though, do not weaponize this insight against yourself. There will be days you see parts of yourself that are manipulative, selfish, or petty. The urge will be to look away. Don't. Accepting your shadow doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior. It means you understand the why behind it. Rage is often a shield for grief. Control is a defense against chaos. When you see the survival mechanism behind the flaw, you can finally feel compassion for yourself. This process takes time. It's a daily habit of noticing, writing, and breathing before you lash out.
You are creating a safe harbor for your soul, where there is no wrong emotion, only information. 5. The shadow is gold. Most of us think the shadow is just a dumpster for our bad traits. We try to be good people by lopping off the parts of us that seem inconvenient. But Jung famously said he'd rather be whole than good, because if you only strive for the light, you become a two-dimensional character. The shadow isn't just pain, it's also your untapped potential, your raw power, and your unique creativity. Jung believed the shadow was 90% pure gold. It contains the vitality you suppressed because it didn't fit the nice person box. You can't delete the shadow, you can only relocate it. If you push it into the basement, it just starts throwing things. This is why highly polite people often have explosive outbursts or sudden midlife crises. The unconscious is trying to restore the balance. If you were shamed for being too loud, your boldness went into the shadow. Now you're a quiet adult who is strangely attracted to or repulsed by people who are the life of the party. You aren't reacting to them, you're reacting to your own stolen fire. Integrating the shadow means taking responsibility for all of it. It's realizing your jealousy is actually a sign of your own ambition. It's seeing that your fear is just a part of you that wants to keep you safe. When you live from wholeness, you stop looking for a partner to complete you. You aren't a half circle looking for another half circle. You are a sphere. You can love without the desperate need for validation. You can connect without losing your boundaries. 6. The courage to be real. We are flooded with self-love slogans today. It's on every mug and every social feed, but most of it is shallow. True self-love isn't a bubble bath or a shopping spree. It's the brutal courage to stay in the room with yourself when you're at your worst. It's looking at the part of you that is hurting and saying, "I see you, and I'm not leaving." This is the only way to become truly lovable to others. If you are still running from your own darkness, you will always be afraid that a partner will find it and leave you. You'll spend the whole relationship hiding. The path home begins with a literal letter to the shadow. Write to the parts of you that were told they were too much or not enough. Apologize for the years of silence. Tell that part it has a seat at the table. This isn't just a ritual, it's a psychological merger. Look at Lauren, a high-powered exec who only dated distant men. She realized she had exiled her own need for care because she thought it was weak. When she integrated that need, she stopped chasing people who couldn't meet it. Or Daniel, who was too nice and got walked on. His shadow held his repressed anger and boundaries. Reclaiming it didn't make him a jerk, it made him respected. Self-love is the daily choice to not abandon yourself. It's journaling instead of scrolling. It's feeling the tear instead of swallowing it. It's saying no to a toxic dynamic, even if it's lonely for a while. You don't become whole by chasing light. You become whole by hugging your own darkness. Conclusion: no one can truly love you until you stop rejecting yourself. Real love can only inhabit a space of wholeness. As long as you are trying to be perfect to be loved, you will only attract people who love the mask, and that is a very lonely way to live. Love doesn't start with a meeting, it starts with a return. It begins when you look in the mirror and vow to never turn your back on yourself again. The connection you want isn't a reward for being good enough, it is the result of being real enough. When you stop running, you become the source of the love you've been seeking. If this resonated with you, it's a sign that a part of your shadow is ready to come home. Don't just close this video and move on. Sit with the silence. Write that letter. If you want to continue this journey of self-discovery through the lens of psychology and theory, make sure to follow Winds of Thought. Share your experiences in the comments. Have you met your shadow yet? We're all learning to be whole together. No one is perfect, but we can all be authentic. Like this video if it helped you see things differently. I'll see you in the next exploration. The truth is found not in avoiding the pain, but in moving through it. Every scar tells a story of survival, but every shadow tells a story of untapped life. By welcoming these ghosts, you stop being haunted. You begin to lead your life from a place of profound peace.
Your future relationships will thank you for the work you do today. Walk forward with courage. There is a whole world within you waiting to be loved. Be patient with the process, for the soul does not heal in a day, but in the steady light of awareness. You are the architect of your own internal landscape. Build it with truth.